at, I'm guessing 6/8.
Okay, that opens up a perfect can of worms to start with today.
Okay.
And that is, if we were in 3/4 time, we could
Yep.
have 6/8 notes in the measure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
would count it 1 and 2 and 3 and,
Okay.
right? And if we're in 6/8 time, we can
Yep.
have 6/8 notes in the measure. But now we count the eighth notes, though we don't count the quarter notes. So we would count to 6 in a measure of 6/8.
Yeah.
We would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
And typically in an 8 time, which is almost always divisible by 3, it's 3/8, 6/8, 9/8, or 12/8, you're usually grouping 3/8 notes together and counting that as one longer beat. So if a song's in 6/8, a typical thing in 6/8 is an Irish jig, and you hear fast threes, da 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 da. Now those eighth notes are going too fast for me to think 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. I'm feeling groups of 3 of them. I'm feeling 2 groups of 3 of them. Da 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 da. That's how you count a measure of 6/8.
Okay.
Is in 2 groups of 3.
Groups of three.
And so really those beats would be, what kind of note is equal to 3/8 notes?
3/8 notes, dotted quarter note.
So what you're really counting in 8 times is usually dotted quarter notes because the eighths are going too fast.
Okay.
And so you then just feel how many of them might be in a measure. So like 6/8 feels like 2 beats.
Yeah.
9/8 feels like 3 beats. There are slip jigs. A slip jig in Irish time means it's in 9/8, which means it's 3 groups of 3. Da 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 da. So that's what's called a slip jig in Irish music.
Okay.
Because it's in 9/8 time, which means you really feel like 3 beats, but
Yep.
each beat is 3/8 notes.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Then so I counted out a measure of 3/4 a minute ago, and in 3/4, what we do is we group the eighth notes in twos. We really count the quarter notes. So in 3/4 time, we'd be counting 1 and 2 and 3 and, accenting the numbers, the quarters.
Right.
So if I have a set of 6/8 notes and I
Yeah.
don't know the time, you can really tell the time by how they're grouped. If even in the music, if they're grouped in pairs, that means it's in 3/4. If they're
Yep.
grouped 3 at a time, 3 under one beam, it's in 6/8.
Then it's in 6/8.
Yeah.
Right.
So kind of counterintuitive. If you feel 3 beats in the measure,
Yep.
it's in 3/4. If you feel 2 beats in the measure, it's in 6/8.
Oh, okay. Two beats in the measure. So
Right.
in this case, what you just played was, it was two groups of three. Dun, 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 dun.
Right.
That's
When I was talking about the jigs.
yeah. Oh, no, no, no. The back to the Neil Diamond.
Okay, so the Neil Diamond one. So listen to that again now, and um,
Actually, it sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now.
right. Okay, so now you're counting. Now what you're doing there was counting the eighth notes, right?
Yeah.
And so if in 3/4 in 6/8 time, the accents would fall on which of those 6 beats?
Wait. Okay. One. It's on one and almost a 1 and 5.
Not quite close, because they have to be equal. They both have to be groups
Oh,
of
then
3.
it's one and 4.
1 and 4. So that's what you're feeling in 6/8 time is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if I just do a pattern like that, if I just play 6/8 notes, you could kind of hear it either way unless I do something to make it more obvious what it is.
Yeah.
So, for example, let me think about this.
That's the beat of Hallelujah.
Right. So Hallelujah, does that feel like it's groups of 3/8 notes together, or groups of? Does it feel like 3/4 or 6/8? Are you feeling two beats in that measure? Now this is fairly slow, right? You're feeling two beats in there, right? So you're hearing the accent here. Then you hear two other notes. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4. That note on 4, that high note, is where you feel the next beat, all right?
Yep.
So that's 6/8.
Yep.
Although what we might even do in Hallelujah, like I'm not, I probably have it written out. That could be one measure. It actually could be written out as 12/8. That there are four groups, but I had like a half a measure of G then and a half a measure of E minor.
Right.
Okay, but that's a class. That's an example of one that is absolutely in 6/8. Now, there's another 6/8. Right, House of the Rising Sun.
Yeah.
Right. Now, here's one. Man, I'm missing a nail and it's messing me up. If I could save time in a bottle. Now, you should be feeling like that is this,
Yeah.
which is 3/4. Okay. So now back to what was I playing? Oh, now the Neil Diamond one. It's kind of a matter of which of those middle notes do I accent so that you get the right feel for it.
Yep.
You know, here's one that's kind of tricky. I think we played this. We talked about Scarborough Fair, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit.
Now, right there, because of when I hit those bass notes,
Yeah.
that feels like 6/8.
Yeah.
Now, I'm hitting the second bass note very hard to make it really clear that it's 6/8.
Yep.
Now, I'm not going to do that. Now I'm hitting the third eighth note harder. It's probably hard to tell through the zoom here. But if you think about the song, are you going to Scarborough Fair? It's in 3. It's in 3/4.
Yeah.
But that picking in the beginning messes the whole, sets you off like kind of like on the wrong foot. You know, but so now feeling those 3 beats, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? So it's very syncopated because we have a bass note comes in on what's really an and in the measure. It's really the and of beat 2, which is like the 4th eighth note.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so the Neil Diamond one is in 3/4, and again, you could hear when I sang Scarborough Fair, you could hear that didn't sound that it fit in the 3/4 beats. So the melody, it helps give it away too. Is the thing, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
But Scarborough Fair is very misleading because when you hear that picking in the beginning, you feel accents on the 2 bass notes, which make it feel like 6/8. Oh, and the end of this story is Again, so if you feel two beats in the measure, if you feel two groups of three, it's 6/8. If you feel three groups of two, it's 3/4.
Okay. Yep. I got that. Yeah.
Famous tune that you know alternates every other measure. Da 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 da. West Side Story, America, is a measure of 6/8. Da 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 da. And so even though the way they sing it, in the first measure you have an accent on 1 and 4. I like to be in a, right? And then you have America. So, the whole thing just, there are all kinds of examples of famous musical tunes that you can use as reference points for certain things. Most of them are to recognize intervals, like a song that starts with, when you're learning to recognize intervals, like an octave. One of the first things you learn a song like, somewhere over the rainbow. That's an octave. And so if something sounds like that when you hear it, you think, oh, that's over the rainbow. That's an octave.
Yeah.
So you, especially like as a music student in college or anywhere, not even in college, you kind of learn to identify intervals by songs that use them.
Yeah.
And West Side Story has a couple classic examples because it also has a very unusual interval. Maria opens up with what's called a tritone, which is C to F sharp in this case, and then goes up to G. But those first two notes in Maria, music students learn it's like, oh, that's called an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth, and that's like the classic example.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Enough.
Listen, I like that. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
It's like my the one way I can remember how to if I'm looking at French words.
Oh.
You're looking at French words and you want to know whether or not how it's pronounced, whether or not the key maybe you speak French, but as far as I know, the key at the end is of the word, whether you pronounce the last consonant as a consonant or a solo or
Right.
a vowel, is whether or not there's an E or not an E at the end of it. So the way to remember that is the menu term prefix.
Okay.
So, yeah, so
Right.
you don't pronounce the X because there's no E after it, and fix you do pronounce the X because there is an E after it. So
Right.
prefix. That's my academic contribution of the morning.
I was figuring in French, you just drop the last three letters all the time, no matter what they are.
Right. Well, that's a good one too. Yeah.
Sometimes four or five. It's variable.
Oh yeah. There's all the words that end in well, there's so many of the AUX, IUX, all
Right.
those kind of things. Like, how do you pronounce that?
Yeah.
There's beer foie. I know cold beer too.
Right. Right.
But that's about it. So.
And then, of course, we Americanize them when we say things like ensemble,
Right.
which it's like, you hear somebody in French say that, you don't even know what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, boy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So on the Neil Diamond song,
Yeah.
so the question on the table there before I started asking all those other questions was what those what that pattern was that you started out on the C,
Right. So basically, the order of the notes.
the order of the notes.
You want to hear it again, or you think you got it?
No, I'll play it one more time, and I'll close my eyes, but I just want to listen to it and I'll see if I can get it. So.
Okay.
Okay, so it's. Oh, sorry. It's that's it. Right?
Now that was really good because about 8 times in a row you played it wrong and you just got it right. That was the first time you got it right. Do you realize you did something different than the last 8 times?
Yeah, I came back to the G here.
That wasn't the mistake.
Yeah,
Here's,
that,
here's what you did that was wrong at one point. Ah, and here was correct. So it only hit this note once.
right,
BillC only got played once.
right. So we yeah, it's okay. It's
No, still not quite.
no.
Doesn't come back to this. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there'd be a couple of different ways of doing this with your right hand, like deciding how to finger it. One would be to use all 3 fingers, and that way fingers never change strings. So you could just go you could keep your fingers glued to the middle strings, which is what I'd really recommend. There we go. So that your fingers never change strings. When I just did it, because right now my third finger is out of commission because I've lost the nail. What I did was I played thumb, index, middle, and then moved the whole thing to the next set of strings.
Oh,
Thumb, index, middle, then thumb on the fourth string. So try that one. Try where you go thumb 1, 2,
like that.
and then move your thumb, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
so one, two,
Almost. Yeah.
so that's the hardest thing is
Yeah. Yeah.
convincing myself like I should hit that string
With your index finger, right.
and index finger. Yeah.
Now again, there'd be a lot of other choices, including using your thumb twice.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah.
So either one of those is really okay. Oh, and the third option would be to use all 3 fingers, on the middle strings, so that now nothing changes. See, I'm bringing my ring finger in for the second string. So there's like three different approaches,
Yeah. Yeah.
each of which has, it can sort of be a toss up.
So it felt more comfortable to do that and
Yeah,
play with these. Maybe because that's what um, in working out babe, I'm gonna leave. That's so that's let's see. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
This one's hard.
Yeah.
So what I found on this, and this is what I've been doing this week, um, was trying to play it clean. That's all I've been trying to do.
That's okay. That was pretty clean. I mean, I like that.
Yeah, I was. That's the hard part. Well, there's a couple things on the transitions in here. So, for example, the first one is okay. That one I can. Okay, let me then the transition here. I gotta. Okay.
So that's really good. We're gonna. There's one little part I want to work on there. So as we talked about last week, a really important part of this is that the fourth note you play every time has to ring until the next fourth note, right? And with one exception, you did a really good job of it. And you tried to do the right thing when it went to the F in the bass. We'll get back to that in just a second because I talked about a couple possibilities there. One was putting the bar down early, but but using your thumb is great. So I'm good for the F chord. Okay. It even really helps to hit those notes, those last notes, particularly the ones on the second string, really hard. Like really hit. When your second finger plays a note, make sure that you really pound it so that it does ring because you're just about to hit a bass note right behind it. That's gonna kind of drown it out a little bit. So really, go for accenting those high notes. And then, it's mostly the C. It's the C you have to hang on to every time, or that you have to think about, because when so even as I'm hitting that C, I'm starting to move to the G in the bass. Like you don't have to wait till you finish it like this, and then I had to hurry there to get there. You played this note like 2 notes ago, so taking your third finger off the A there and moving a little early. So watch when I let go and get that. And kind of the same thing here. You can start moving to the next bass note just a hair earlier and not have to think I got to finish those 8 notes on this one chord and then rush. There's always a little buffer zone that you can move earlier with your left hand. Now you come out of the last one, which is when we've got the F sharp in the bass. Now that's the C we need to keep ringing while you go get the F in the bass. And what you've been doing there is taking it off. You did this. It's like you went for the bass note first.
Yep.
So practice that hanging. You're just coming from here. You just got to practice getting the other 2 fingers off and getting your thumb in the bass. Thumb on the bass without the C coming off in between.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 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 So generally, I'm just need to walk earlier on everything. Uh,
Yeah. Make sure you get those other fingers off cleaner first. Like make sure to clear, get when you're here,
yeah.
before you start moving your thumb for that bass note. Make sure that these two have come off so that you have a little bit more, a little more space to grab this. Like if these are still hanging around here and you start moving your thumb here,
Yeah.
it's making this more difficult.
Got
So
a real handful. Yeah.
you can pretty much bail on all of the notes as soon as you hit the highest note, the fourth note. Everything else can come off in the interest of getting to that next bass note right on time.
Okay. 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 Let me give that a wing. Okay. Okay.
Oh, took the wrong one off.
Wow.
Hey, but those first two changes were really good. Matter of fact, something interesting happened there because you moved exactly at the right time and you hit the bass note right at the right time, and you almost had to hesitate for a second because you weren't used to hearing it that connected. I
Yeah.
think it messed you up because it sounded great.
Okay. 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 Oh,
Ah,
oh, see, I took that off.
right.
Yeah. Okay. So I see. Yeah. Okay.
Got to focus on that C. That's the only note that has to stay on. You got to make
Yeah.
hang with
That's
that.
that's the one. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let me give that another wing here. Okay.
Oh, you didn't take the D off. Hang on, and then get the other two out of the way,
Yeah. That.
and then get your thumb. Right, and then start building it. Yeah.
Oh, see, I need to leave. I need on this. Okay. Oh, see, that has to stay.
Does have to move. So in this case, you want to just hang on to that C until you've played the open bass note. Then you could, but don't let go of it before that.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Okay.
then
Here.
then it's got to move. But yeah, yeah. So you
Yeah.
just have a tiny overlap there.
Okay. When you go to this E here, these two fingers.
Yeah, I would. I like that you did it that way. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's okay because then it just drops right back to here,
Right. Then you're set up for the A minor with your middle finger already in the right place.
right place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
now, I did you get music to this? Did I ever send you the music to it, or did you?
Yeah, no, I have that. Yeah, I do have the music to it.
Okay, because the other thing, there's the other little section where you go to the F and the E for a full measure each. Have you tried
Yeah.
that part yet? Okay.
Didn't get to those.
Okay. Well, it's pretty easy. Go back to the F that you had,
Yeah.
and what happens is we have a full measure of F rather than a half measure, where it
Yeah.
has the same two melody notes we've had all along. It has a D on the first one and a C on the other one. So
Okay.
yeah, so it goes like this. So on the F, we have a D and a C in the melody.
Right.
I'd do that first.
Okay. So okay. Okay.
And then to the E chord with the same D in the melody. A D and then a B. So it's going to go from D to open.
Okay.
Be careful, you still have the F in the bass.
Oh.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Okay. Um.
And then back to the F, starting with the D coming up for right. And the E again. And then just back to the A minor part.
Uh,
Yeah, oh god, that was good.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there are one or two other little variations. Listen to this. Here's the way we have it. The way we do it in the first time around. Ah. So on those first two chords there, the A minor and then the G, the melody went from what we had before, those to this. You know. And he really, it's just kind of random how he plays it throughout the song. It's like, so you really can mix and match. You can just, just make up your own variations almost.
When you're when you do go to that, okay, when you go to this, so
Yeah.
no.
It would go to the open E for the second note.
Oh, open E. Okay. Oh, I'm okay. I missed it. Oh,
Right.
what am I doing wrong here?
What that's messing up right there is because you're playing the first string and thinking about the first string again, your thumb's not getting back to the fifth string after it. Your thumb's kind of drifted a little bit across the strings.
Okay, so we do this without that for a second.
Yeah. And then you could do those same two melody notes on the G. When you go to the G and the bass, same two melody notes. Yeah. And you could even try it on the F sharp and see what you think. Yeah. And he does that once or twice in the song. It's always an accident. He never means to do that because he didn't like the sound. That one does sound a little weird. But
Sharp, yeah.
yeah, with the F sharp in the bass and the G then in the melody,
Yeah. Okay.
But it wouldn't sound bad to do some when you got to the F sharp. It wouldn't be bad to use an E as one of the melody notes, like the first one.
Oh.
E-
Okay. So
your second finger's in the wrong place. Yeah. But now instead of hitting that, hit the high E as the fourth note.
oh,
And then you can still come back to C. Yeah.
oh, I see. Instead of do okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the kind of the goal with this would be mess around with that kind of like just on your own and just try to change those two melody notes to anything that is reachable and see what you think. See, I mean, if it sounds, and sometimes you might hit a note that seems really like kind of weird. Like I think he does this at one point. Yeah, I think sometimes he even gets Fs in there, but it's that sounded terrible what I just did, but just mess around with it a little bit and see about changing some of those notes, the high notes.
So everything in the high notes that we're doing up here, we're in A minor here, right?
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
Okay, we're in A minor, and what I'm trying to are these things that are oops, shoot, hang on a second here.
Oh.
So I have to
Aliens landing or something.
know I don't know why that does that, but yeah, we're back.
Okay.
No, my phone
Oh.
call rang.
Yeah.
Those notes, let's see. This note, this D is in the key,
Right.
right? This E is in the key.
Sure.
and um, this F, yeah, it's in the key too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so is the G,
Right. Right.
right? So those are all in the key.
But we have one quirky thing that happens in here. We have a couple of notes in some of the chords that are different than those. Because what did we do in the bass for this song?
Well, we started out in C. Uh,
No, the first chord was what?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
A. So okay, so
So we
we're
got A. A is really our tonic note. A is
right.
we're
And
basically
we
in A
walk
minor.
it down to G,
Right.
and then we're at F sharp,
Right.
not in the key,
Not yet. And then what?
and then E.
No, there's one more in between. What happened after the F sharp?
Oh yeah, yeah, F, yeah, F,
Right. So see here we've got F and F sharp being used as part of the bass line.
right,
And this falls into the category of, in a minor key, I'm not sure if we talked about this or not, but a minor scale, there are three different versions or variations of a minor scale.
hmm,
And they both include extra notes that are not just in the relative major key.
okay,
So the key signature of A minor is no sharps and flats.
right,
So when we get to this F sharp, it's like, oh wait, what's that all about? That's like the first aberration. And
yeah,
then maybe we think, oh, maybe we're not in the key of C. Maybe we're in a key that has one sharp in it, which would be the key of G,
yeah,
which would tell us that we're in like a mode. We talked a little bit about the modes. We'd be in like the Dorian mode. We're in the key of G, but we're using A minor as home, chord 2.
right,
Okay, but then it goes to F after that. So in other words, now we've got this problem of okay, we're using F and F sharp relatively equally.
hmm,
And so the real story on a minor key is there's a. Have we talked about this melodic minor and harmonic minor stuff?
yeah. I think
I'm
at
gonna
some
do.
point we might have, yeah,
Yeah, real briefly, an A minor scale. The natural minor scale is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Now we also used an E chord in here that has G sharp in it,
yep,
and that note wasn't in that scale I just played.
right,
But that's the first thing that commonly happens in a minor scale is the seventh note gets raised a half step to create a major chord on step 5 to give us an to give us a dominant chord on chord 5.
okay,
Whereas the natural chord in this case, if we were in the key of C, would be E minor because it'd be chord 3 in the key of C.
yep,
Anyway, so raising the seventh note is always acceptable in a minor scale. And then still using the natural seventh note too, using G and G sharp are both okay.
okay,
Well, the same thing is true of the sixth note, F and F sharp. They're both used, they both can be used and still have it be considered it's in the key of A minor. Because a lot of times what you would do, what they call the melodic minor scale,
uh-huh,
has F sharp and G sharp when it's going up.
yeah,
So it sounds like this. Oops. Using F sharp and then G sharp getting to the A. Now that sounds great, but it sounds great because most of it sounds like our major scale, except the third. So when I start playing it backwards down, it sounds like a major scale with a mistake. You know, because you have to get all the way down to the C before you hear the note that was different.
yeah,
So when that scale's played descending, it's usually those sharps are gotten rid of, and you play it the natural way down. So when you're going up to A, it's common to use F sharp and G sharp to get there. When it's coming away from A, you restore them to G natural and F natural to kind of restore the minor sound. So
okay,
that's why when you asked this if this is in the key of A minor, and I said kind of, the kind of is because it's using the melodic minor scale where we're using both F and F sharp
yeah,
and G and G sharp. We got the G sharp in the E chord, and we had a G in the bass earlier,
yep,
right? So that's what's going on. It's using and so many times if you look at a piece of music and you see the key signature that says no sharps or flats,
yep,
and you know if you want to know which key, we still don't know what key it's in until we either play a little of it and see what it's sounding like,
Yeah.
Or if you look at the music and you start seeing a bunch of sharps on F and or G,
Yeah.
that tells you it's in the minor key, not in the major key.
Okay.
That'd
Okay.
be the key of A minor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So,
All right. Oh, there we
so
go.
yeah. So as far as the notes that you could add up on the top, they're all sort of
Yep.
um, in the limits, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so even but like you could use the F sharp up here when you've got the F sharp in the bass. Like our melody could be something. Let's see how this works. I don't know. That seemed a little abrupt all of a sudden, that high F sharp, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I would stay away from the F and the F sharp in the melody because they're getting taken care of in the bass.
Right. Okay.
Really, so your melody notes to choose from are kind of like just G and E on that string and D and C on this string.
You see. Okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to, don't have to go crazy with this.
Okay. All right. So, in the context of the song, I mean, there's so many repetitions of that particular string that those variations, do they get plugged in like within one of these series of repetitions or later on when what do you,
Yeah,
what's gonna sound best there?
the way the vocals work with it, because I think it's usually like 6 repetitions of that sequence
Yeah.
before it goes back to the F and E one. And then I think it's just one more of the A minor. So it gets kind of boring playing it kind of like by yourself, because there
Right.
really is not a lot of different stuff you can do in those. And so I normally don't have people. This is an example of a song that I use more as an exercise, not one that you're going to play along with the band or necessarily or anything, but it's really just to kind of mess around with. Now, it also could be fun to, if you were playing with somebody else, one person could keep this going for a while and the other could be messing around with little leads that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, just improvising a lead over there too. But what I would probably do is usually like maybe just 4 times through of the A minor sequence,
Yep.
then the F thing, and then maybe one more time of the A minor, and that little set would be like a verse, let's say. But that's shortening their verse a little bit because of how the vocals work.
Okay.
But it'd be, so that'd be like a logical thing to actually make it square or relatively square because the F to E thing is 4 measures. It's like one time through the whole A minor sequence.
Right.
It's a measure of F, a measure of E, measure of F, a measure of E. So it's the
Yep.
same length as one time through the A minor stuff, right?
Hmm.
And so then the whole thing could be, you'd have four of the A minor parts, one of the F thing, and then one more, and now we've got like 6 lines that make a good paragraph, kind of.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then how do in terms of the structure then, there's the strum part, which we talked a little bit about last week,
Yeah.
where we're taking the A minor.
And that would happen like after those block of 6 that I just said. Like if you ended with one more A minor after the F and E stuff,
Yeah.
then you'd come back into this. So you'd from the end you'd have an F, another one of these, and then one more of these. Usually 4 of these. And then back to that. So if you just kind of, alternate those sections like that, it'd be good. You'd have a good little, even instrumental that is kind of fun to play.
And yeah. And when we're going, um, this A minor that we bring first all the way up to
Yeah,
eighth fret,
right.
right?
And so that makes it what chord? Like if you had a full bar there, where would the bar be? Right here.
The bar would be back here, and so
Right. And so what would that make this?
um, that would make this. I should I should know this just by heart, but I have to think through it. Um, that would make this C.
No. So what string has the root? Where's the root of this chord right now?
The root of the chord's right here.
Yeah, yeah. So what note is that? What note is 2 frets lower? Go back to the 5th fret.
Oh, the right there. That's a D.
Good. So
That's a Z.
right, right.
Right? Yeah.
So that's what the two chords are up here. You can take your A minor shape
Yeah.
and move it all the way up to where it'd be E minor
Yep.
without the bar, right? And then bring it back to where it'd be D minor.
D minor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the first time I played this, I did it with single time strumming. Like, so the easy way to do this would be this. You know, just down, down, up, up, down, or something. And then it'd be 2 ups coming up the neck.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, now, right there, what you just did, now you went into double time for hitting those all as the downs.
right.
This would actually sound better if you did double time from the beginning.
Oop.
And actually, hang on. Go back to the A, when you land on this A minor, it's going to be normal fingers for the A minor. You're not going to use those. It's going to be standard fingering, right? So yeah, and then just slide that up.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Are
that means
these downs or these ups?
now they're going to be downs because yeah,
Yeah.
everything's going to be downs now except for this. But you need like 1 up right there. And that's what we hear in the double time.
Okay.
Yeah. And even there, one more thing. That was really good what you did. But even here, when you're moving up the neck, don't let this hand stop. Don't let it look like this. Keep it moving the whole time, which means that there's actually like time for another down between each of these. I'll do it a little slower. See how I'm still moving through here? There's a couple fake downs in here, around up in here, rather than stopping.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
Constant. Yeah, oh, that was great. That was great though. You did your right hand. Yeah, I know, you landed in the wrong place, but your right hand did exactly what we're talking about. Perfect.
All right. So I get too excited there.
And don't forget, look up the neck sooner. That's what's happening. You're not looking up at the 8th fret soon enough.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing to look at down there at the A minor anymore.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. So keep it moving the whole time. All right.
It's great though. I'm glad you got. I mean, I really like having people work on this song. I think it's
This is yeah, it's really fun. There's some reward because it's sort of doable in
yeah.
general. Yeah. So okay, so I'm just trying to think of what else. That covers most of the parts here. I'm going to work my way through the whole thing here, the
Yeah.
E, the E and all that.
Oh, you know what? There is if you have all the tab, there is one more little thing. I forget what happens. There's one other little really dissonant little part that I can't remember right now off the top of my head how it goes, but it's in the tab there, and
Oh, the interlude. Yeah.
it's a few pages in before that happens. It's a
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's tricky fingering as I recall, But let me talk about one more thing before we go, and that is back to the Neil Diamond thing, because actually this would be a fun song for you to mess with, to listen to. I want you to hear one more thing. Listen to the chord change. There we go. I'm going to do 4 measures. Just one little change.
Okay. It looks like what you're doing is let's see. And it looked like you went to here.
Play it. Let's see if it sounds right. Yeah. So that's what's happening there. Only that one note changes. And so what would that make this chord?
Okay, so we're going from an E to an F. So a C and an F, G, C and F and G.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's familiar. The other
Okay.
way around. C and F and G plus the C down here.
Right?
So this is still the root of the chord though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what changed? What part of the chord changed?
Well, we went from the E, which is the third.
Okay.
We went to the fourth, and so it's C sus.
Yeah. So that's what we just by changing that one note, we've changed it to sus4.
Sus4. Yeah.
Yeah.
C sus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you look at the lesson or mess with the song a little bit more, um, in the very first verse, that's the only change he does. It's like 8 measures of C, and then the C sus, and then back to C with a
Yeah.
little walking bass part. At one point, he does this. Walking up from C to D. There's like a little, taking you to the sus4, which is odd because it then walks you up. But the next bass note is the C again. Later on, though, he changes that to a whole F chord. And it's just the small F because he wants the high F in the bass.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So it's so that F added to the C chord kind of hints at it being an F chord because if it were an F, if I had an F and a G and a C,
Yeah.
F could be the root of this chord. The same 3 notes that we're calling C sus4
Right.
could be F, G, C,
Yeah.
which would be what chord now?
F G C. So again, we changed the third
Okay.
to now it would be F sus2,
So C sus4 and F sus2 are the same chord.
the same chord. Okay.
You know, and that's true of every sus4 chord. Anytime you play a sus4 chord, it's another sus2 chord. And
Okay.
really,
Okay.
what would just determine what you call it is what you're playing in the bass. So we
Okay.
wouldn't think of this as an F sus2 because we're hearing the C in the bass. But if I played it with F, G, and C just like this, now it's F sus2.
Okay. Okay. And you just fingered that way though.
On the F sus2, I played the F on the fourth string.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Fourth string for the F. That's C on the fourth string.
Oh,
And then the same C that I just had up here,
yep.
but then the open G in between, just those three notes.
Right.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So see, it's the same three notes we just played, but now we've got F in the bass, so we think of it as
Okay.
F plus two.
Yeah. Same. Okay. Yeah. As opposed to. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, cool. Yeah. No, I'm gonna look at that. Neil Diamond. Did he write all his own stuff? Is he?
He wrote almost all of his hits. He also did a lot. He did cover. Yes, so he was mostly known as a songwriter. Going back to the really early days, we had stuff like Melinda was mine till the time that she found, or I found her. You know, a solitary man.
Yeah.
So all of his hits were his own. Sweet Caroline, I Am I Said was another one. I Am I Said, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Yeah.
So he did play a lot of covers, like he played Suzanne by Leonard Cohen
Oh right.
and stuff, but those never did anything for him. And then of course what really broke his career, I thought love was only true in fairy tales, and for someone else, but not for me. Love was out to get me, that's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. Then I saw her face, now I'm a believer. Big hit for the Monkees.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's really what launched his career. He'd been a struggling songwriter for 3 or 4 years before that, and had put out a couple of his own albums. But the Monkees doing "I'm a Believer" is what launched his career.
Wow. That's funny.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Neil Diamond. Okay. Well,
Hey.
next week I think I'm going to be sitting right.